Hello, and welcome to the AP World History Review video, the only place where you can get exclusive coverage on AP World History Japan.
But only the things that we choose to cover.
Okay then, well I'm Gretchen, and
I'm Carly.
And we'll be focusing on Japan. And now to ancient Japan. Dun dun dun! To recap, ancient Japan, that was it.
Okay, no, but seriously, the most important thing that we know about ancient Japan is that they built those burial mounds.
Yeah, it was called the Kofu period, named after those burial mounds.
So let's skip all the boring in-between stuff and get straight to the classical and post-classical periods.
My fellow Japanese ambassadors to China, I am, as I'm sure you are, extremely exhausted and tired from our journey from the Japanese homeland. Let us see what hostel the Chinese have set up for us.
What a mighty offense against us and our Japanese brother.
Well, maybe it's just a joke.
It matters not the sincerity of the offense, but rather that the offense has been performed. By calling us barbarians, they are effectively calling us uncivilized.
This is such a despicable offense against our Japanese homeland. We must not sleep in this hostel, but rather we must set up camp in the middle of the street in honor of our Confucian beliefs. Dear Almighty Emperor of the great land of China, I am writing to you this letter in order to address the issue of a grave offense which has been brought upon me and my fellow Japanese ambassadors. I respectfully convey that upon our arrival at the hostel set up for us so generously by your court, we happened upon this sign hanging upon this hostel that read, "The Japanese Barbarian Hostel." You, as a well-respected, learned, and wise man, will know how great of an offense this is. For centuries, we Japanese have nurtured Chinese values and teachings. Our royal family is fluent in Chinese, and we honor the Confucian system of governing. Under this pretense, I find it not just disrespectful, but ignorant to refer to us as barbarians. I respectfully request that this issue be quickly and effectively resolved. Sincerely, Steve. The Emperor, please.
Almighty Emperor, this is a letter from our Japanese ambassador, Steve.
Thank you, young one. And they call this the classical period. Pathetic. It is evident that all classical Japan is just a copy of our wonderful society. They're not true Chinese, but actually just Chinese wannabes. And that they're really, actually, unlike he says here, truly barbarians.
And now, we're tired of talking to you.
So here's a commercial break.
Honda, bringing Japan to the world since September 24th, 1948. Honda has great transmission and stunning interior seats with heat and air conditioning. This car can clean itself and has been produced here in Japan and shipped to the Western world. The power of dreams is what we put into every car to make sure that it is what your dreams are made of. Honda, the power of dreams.
Ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce special guest Akinori.
Hi, I understand you're a laborer in Japan. Can you tell us what year it is?
1511.
Can you stop that?
No. There is so much warfare in Japan right now that I've turned to Buddhism to escape the Enlightenment.
Can you tell us a bit about your life?
I live on the land of Akiyoshi, a daimyo leader with many samurai to fight in his wars. I do his work and fight to die in his wars, his endless wars.
And that was Akinori. Thanks to him for being with us.
And now for the Edo period.
The boring part, where nothing happened.
Konnichiwa.
Konnichiwa.
Shogun, it makes me angry.
Why?
Because he has us doing nothing and we have no duty to fulfill without Bushido.
It is okay, young Unchi Sakura. Look at the cherry blossoms everywhere and the beautiful art.
Yes, it is a quite peaceful time here in Japan. At least there are no wars that we could take part in and we can focus on our art.
Yes, art.
Now, let's take a look at Japan when we all hated them.
During World War II.
It was a dark and stormy night. Now, on to the topic of Japan during World War II.
There were major and minor ways that Japan was involved during the Second World War.
First, on July 7, 1937, Japan invaded China, initiating World War II in the Pacific.
Fast forward to a couple years later, December 7th, 1941 to be exact, when Japan bombed Pearl Harbor in the United States. Then, the day after, the United States declared war on Japan and the U.S. entered World War II.
By April 1942, the Philippines, Indonesia, and Singapore are all under Japanese occupation.
Also moving on a couple years later, on August 6, 1945, the United States dropped an atomic bomb on Hiroshima.
3 days after that, the United States drops another nuclear bomb on Nagasaki.
Last, on September 2, 1945, after many years of war, Japan formally surrenders, ending World War II.
Well, also, since they surrendered unconditionally, they had to give up their conquered lands in China and lots of the Pacific Islands.
Their emperor also took the main power back from the military leaders, making them much less expansionist.
Also, adding to the whole World War period, Japan was allies with Italy, Germany, Romania, Spain, and were Axis powers.
But at the end of the war, they abandoned their allies once they were all defeated. That is all you need to know about Japan during World War II.
Hello, welcome to your Honda dealership. My name is Steve.
Hello, Steven. I'm interested to purchase a Honda CR-V today.
Yes, right this way. And here it is, the 2014 CR-V, a wonderful piece of Japanese engineering, which reminds me of the wonderful history.
Oh no, you don't have to explain.
The Liberal Democratic Party controlled the government from 1955. The Japanese government continuously encouraged investment and limited exports by lending public resources. It was a wonderful period in Japan. Culture was at its finest with poetry, painting, concerts, pottery, theater, films, and many other things. Through the 1950s, 60s, and 70s, our economy boosted forward. By the 1980s, Japan had passed several Western nations in per capita, including Britain. This was made possible by many factors. To begin, our government greatly supported the economy. The expansion of our education in Japan also opened doors, and the number of engineers in Japan greatly overshadowed the rest of the world. Great investment was placed on machinery and other technology. The workforce in general helped increase the economic productivity. They worked on loyalty within the group by doing things such as group exercises before the workday started. The workforce was often occupied not with personal gain, but with making collective decisions. Through these improvements, our companies, such as those from the auto industry, and including us here at Honda, were renowned not only for our vast production quantities, but the quality which we produce. The place we also have in the world economy has allowed us to embrace Western ideas such as baseball and basketball. Both have become popular.
All I wanted to do was buy a car.
Did you like my presentation? McDonald's?
Sure.
Big Mac?
Oh yeah.
And now for a special feature.
Back in Nam.
I remember, back in my day, back in Nam, there was a man named Lieutenant Kennedy. Great man. Not really, he was pretty pathetic. But either way, one day, he was on sentry. He was out there. We always knew they might, attack in the night. Suddenly he was lit on fire and was screaming. We woke up and heard him screaming. Just constant pain, because he was lit on fire. It's kind of funny, terrible, but still kind of fun. But it warned us of their attack, and suddenly we were able to fight and pull some back. We only found burned ash of him. It was terrible. And he was replaced with an amazing person, though, Lieutenant Cass.
I remember back in that day, we were playing stick baseball out in the yard. Old Bessie came running up. We saw her coming through the fields. We could see that she'd been through a lot. She immediately fell down, exhausted, dead. She came to warn us about the incurring invasion of our camp. She saved everyone in that camp. To that I owe her my soul.
So what should you take from this video?
Probably nothing.
But we'll recap anyway.
Ancient Japan, the Kofun period, which just had burial mounds and dead people.
Then classical Japan, which had emperors, Confucianism, and a lot of plagiarism from China.
Then medieval Japan, where there were samurais and feudal warlords dominating the peasants.
Regionalism dominated the politics. You can compare medieval Japan to medieval Western Europe.
Then the Edo period. Yep, nothing but art.
Then there was World War II Japan. They invaded China.
That's important.
They bombed the US. We bombed them. Just rewatch the video.
And finally, modern Japan, which meant extreme westernization.
So thanks for joining us, and good luck on your AP test.
Good luck.